Hi. Hi. Good afternoon. At least to my East Coasters. Hi. Okay, so we're just kind of going to get on into it because I'm just in the mood to jump in. I like the threes. Let's get these glasses off. I'm a big fan of the threes, and I really like getting to dig into them because they're really interesting and they're very different. I think for the last couple of cards in the major arcana, the aces and the twos, we've been seeing this really clear overlap between them, right? It's like, oh, okay, most of the aces are pretty much the same. I've been repeating myself quite a lot, through the aces and through the twos. It's been a lot of the same themes, really just kind of seen through the lens of our passions or our feelings or our thoughts or our external environment. Thanks to, the cups and the wands and the swords and the pentacles. So it's been very similar kind of all the way across. But what's fun about the threes is that we get really weird in the threes. And I mean, even just the imagery of them alone, I think really kind of helps articulate this, because three of them are kind of all in the same energy, right? Or at least these two are. We have these two right here, right? We have the three of coins, and then we have the three of cups. And both of these can suggest working together, camaraderie, a team, companionship. They can all kind of request this based on these. Obviously, for different reasons and for different things. These guys look like they're trying to get something accomplished and get something done. These three are just kind of having fun. But we see this overarching theme between the two of them. And then here's the other two. Super weird, right? Super weird, very different, very hard left compared to like the rest of the energy that's kind of going on in this set. So this is why I like the threes. They're interesting. So why is that? Why is it so... I am so sorry. I dropped you. Why is it so damn weird, like across the board? Well, let's start getting into the numerology of 3 and that number and breaking all that down. So the number 3 has meanings in creativity, in self-expression, in communication and social interactions. Optimism, enthusiasm is a big part of the number 3. Expansion and growth. We also want to think of strength with the number 3, because when we think of 3, we think of triangles, and that's the strongest shape. So strength is a big part of this card. We also see playfulness and joy in this number, and that's a lot of weird, sometimes, what's the word? I can't think of it right now. Sometimes that is two things that go against each other, right? There's a word for that. I'm blanking on it right now. Congruent? Maybe congruent. Too loud. Not all of the definitions of 3 seem to like agree with each other a little bit, and that's okay. That's kind of, again, why this number is really strange. In 3s we can see a lot of change and a lot of growth. People who have a life path number 3 are usually big people. They're all about like connections and communications, and sometimes that means they're a really friendly, well-connected, well-networked person. Other times it means like in a business way they're really savvy. So 3 is one of those weird numbers, and as we keep going, the numbers are going to get more complex, and you're going to see more of a disparity between the cards and the suits. So we're going to start off with the cups. I think we all start with the cups every time. I don't know, I like the cups. We're going to start with the 3 cups. So if you're using this card as a yes or no, this is a yes. This is a big yes. The symbolism behind this card. Obviously, we have these 3 young women dancing, having a lovely time. Their cups are raised. This is kind of meant to show that their relationship is based on mutual respect, appreciation. They uplift each other. They're having a good time. They're celebrating. Like, it's just a really fun, sweet interaction with each other. And we see, in this case, there's pumpkins down here. But normally the ground is covered in flowers. Here, like I said, we see it in the pumpkins down here, and then we also see it in the grapes that are kind of growing up here. This is all meant to show abundance. This is the abundance that the presence of one another brings into their lives. It's really sweet. It's really mushy, but like that's kind of the whole point. They make each other's lives richer and fuller by being around each other. Now, if you are a keywords person, the keywords, if you're like a flashcard type of girly, the words that I would say, like if we were playing word association, the ones that would like come right off the top of my head when we're thinking about the Three of Cups, I want you to think celebration, friendship, creativity, collaboration, support, sisterhood. All of that is seen here in the Three of Cups. These are people who are connecting, supporting one another, getting together, loving each other, taking care, uplifting, honoring. Very sweet, intimate, deeply cared relationships. I love pulling this card for our social circles. I love getting to see that like this is kind of what's happening in our lives. It's always a happy card to kind of pull for people. This card is also a big reminder of our support nets. I might pull this card for somebody because they're going through it and they need to remember that there's people who care about them and are looking out for them and would want to take care of them and help them. And, it's really important to keep that in mind. And especially when we're going through something difficult, and especially if you're the type of person who often feels like you need to handle shit on your own, or like you need to put stuff on your back and do it by yourself. The Three of Cups is the reminder that like, you don't, and that you're not by yourself, and that there's people who are here to see you grow and thrive and uplift and support you, and that there are people who will put you on their back and will carry you. You have family, you have sisters, even if you don't have any by blood, you have family, you have people who are here to step in for you in that way, and the Three of Cups is usually the reminder for that. It's also an invitation to celebrate. This is always a really fun type of card. This card usually calls us, especially the people that we have these types of deeply soul-honoring relationships to. You're being called to kick back, have fun with them, celebrate, fall back on that support system. The energy of this bond and this relationship is very high. And when you guys are together, you get amazing things done. You are productive. You're having a good time. You're happy. I have a group of friends like that where every time we hang out, it's like everything's brighter. And for the longest time, I was like, why don't I see you guys more often? Like, we only see each other like every couple of months. Why don't we make more of an effort? If it feels this nice, why don't we try harder? Because it's difficult. Schedules are hard. Everybody's working. But why is there not, it takes a lot of effort, but it feels this good. We deserve to feel like this and be surrounded by this type of love and energy, even if that means it requires a little bit of extra work and a little bit of extra effort. I'm a big fan also of seeing this card show up whenever we're dealing with creative endeavors. This is the start a band with your friends card. This is absolutely that card. You're going to be called to lean back and have fun, and really the only work you should be doing is creative stuff, honestly, when this card comes around. Now, when it's in reverse, this card's messy when it's in reverse. At best, we see independence. Independence isn't bad. That's a good part of this card. But on top of independence, we also see independence and alone time, but we also see 3 as a crowd and excess partying. Now I'm going to tell y'all something, and you are not allowed to take this information and run with it and start telling everybody that their man is cheating, and you're not allowed to start accusing your man of cheating every 10 minutes. When this card is in reverse, it can signify cheating. Can. Use the rest of your cards to tell you if that's what's happening. If do you see cards hinting at deceit? Do you see cards hinting at heartbreak or selfishness or lies? Then we can start getting nervous. But the 3 of Cups, when it is in reverse, is usually when we're talking about relationships, there is a third party in this relationship that is a problem. That doesn't always mean they're cheating. Sometimes that third party is a batshit crazy mother-in-law. Sometimes that third party is shitty friends that don't support the relationship and are actively trying to, cut it off with a pass. Sometimes that third party is your partner's job that they're obsessed with and that they work at too much and that, you don't see them a lot and it feels like they're married to their job more than they're married to you. That is the Three of Cups in reverse. It's not always cheating. That third party person is not always another bitch. Don't get paranoid. A lot of the times it's just a thing. I found at one point my partner, he was working and going to school. And when I tell you, the poor guy, it was like Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., like non-stop. It was crazy. I pulled the Three of Cups for us a lot because it was getting in the way of our relationship, understandably. Oh my God, these hiccups. Understandably so. Was there really anything we could do about it? No, he had to finish school. He had to go to work. But we could have made more of an effort in the free time that we had to be there for each other more, because work was this wedge that was driving us apart and causing issues. I was getting bitchy. I was getting resentful. I was getting my feelings hurt. So check in on this card. It's not always cheating, but I have to do my due diligence and tell you that it can also mean cheating. So like I said, use your surrounding cards before you start throwing all their shit on the lawn, or before you start telling your friend or your client to break up with their boyfriend or ditch their girlfriend because they're cheating. Again, you need your surrounding cards to tell you if that's actually what's going on. In reverse, with this card, maybe you just might want to be alone. You might just be in the mood to spend some time with yourself. And that's okay. Honestly, with my Three of Cups, it's okay if you just want to spend time with like your very, very close inner circle and yourself. It's something that should be respected by the people around you, as long as you don't stay there forever. And as long as you communicate, you're fine. That's really the only other thing about taking alone time that a lot of people forget, is that they forget to communicate that they're taking alone time and that this is what they need. A lot of people don't do that. So definitely make sure to continue. Man, that tree outside is whipping. So definitely make sure to communicate. Sometimes when this card is in reverse, it can also show that we're just not clicking with people anymore, or that we're ready to move on from the social group that we're a part of. And that's okay. Sometimes we drift apart. Sometimes the relationship that was really good for us a few years ago, or the friendship that was really good for us a few years ago, just isn't anymore, and that's okay. Sometimes we have grown into someone that this relationship can no longer support. That's okay. Sometimes we outgrow the people that we care about. That's okay. Or grow into people that are no longer compatible the way that they used to be. That's okay. It's hard and sad, but like all of those things are okay, and the Three of Cups kind of reminds you of that. Now, something that's not okay is this card can also suggest feeling isolated, excluded, or separated from your friends or your friend groups. Listen to this if you feel this way. If you feel this way, talk to your friends about it. Maybe don't come in swinging, maybe don't come in accusing, because how we feel is not always an accurate representation to what's actually going on. So you might feel excluded and they might not be trying to exclude you. But it's still important that you feel that way, and you should still communicate it. That way it can be fixed. Just don't be accusatory. Because sometimes we feel a certain way, even though nobody's trying to make us feel that way. Those emotions should still be addressed. That problem should still be fixed, but there is no one to point fingers at. There's no one to blame. There's no one to get mad at in those situations. Sometimes you can get your feelings hurt and people can also not have done anything wrong. Sometimes that just happens. And the Three of Cups is going to push for you to recognize, when are you being excluded? When do you feel excluded? Regardless of which is happening, address it. Because that's also the important difference. Am I being excluded? Do I feel excluded? So take the time to check that, get the answer. Because if you are being excluded, oh my God, handle that. If you just feel excluded, again, that's also worth talking about. Your friends deserve to know. They can't fix it if they don't know. Something that we also tend to see when we feel this way is that usually what we need is time to ourselves so that we can reflect. It's also important that if you are working on a creative project, like, you know, if you took the advice and started a garage band with your friends, now is maybe the time to work on some stuff by yourself. That doesn't mean put this down and away from you and like ignore it forever. But you know, give it a rest. Give it a break. Sometimes when we're working on projects with multiple people, it could be too many cooks in the kitchen. Sometimes we just need to take a breather from each other. You might be stifling each other's creativity. You might be working too hard and you need to take some time off. Whatever it kind of is, make sure that you're spending time with friends and family and the people that are closest to you and that you're reconnecting with them. Now, another meaning of this card in reverse is... Exactly. Bing, bang, boom. On the money. Absolutely, we gotta address those things. 100%. But don't project onto the other person. We're making us feel it. Totally. Nailed it. Chef kiss. Unfortunately, a darker side of this relationship that can be a little difficult is... sometimes we're overindulging. Sometimes we're partying too much. If you see this card and you see the devil upright, you're partying too much. If you get the 3 of Cups in reverse and the devil upright, you are partying too much. You need to slow down. You need to slow down. You need to slow down. Especially because if you're not careful, it's going to become a problem. It's going to become a problem if you're not careful. Because the 3 of Cups is overindulgence and the devil is addictions. So keep an eye on it. Be careful. Everything in moderation. And all that jazz. It's really important to recover, rest, and take some time. I keep thinking I hear somebody walking around and it's just the tree whapping into the house. That keeps messing me up. And then finally, like I said, in relationships, it's that third party problem. Next card. 3 of Swords. Oh, I did the 3 of Swords next? Damn. I just wanted to get it out the way early, I guess. Shit. Well, here's the 3 of Swords. If you are using this card in a yes or no reading, this is a no. This is a very big no. This is a no, don't even try it. You're gonna get your feelings hurt. No. It's a very fat no. Obviously on the imagery, we have 3 swords going right into that heart. It's pain. It's pain and suffering, and it's usually inflicted by words and thoughts and all of that. Yeah, it's fair. I will too. I can't stand the 8 of Swords. I hate the 8 of Swords. I also don't like the 2 of Swords. 2 of Swords and I got beef. I love the swords, which is funny. The swords are like my favorite suit. I hate the 2 of Swords. Because it's, I'm so torn. No, you're not. No, you're not. Stop overthinking. Like, that's always how it goes. Also, all these dark clouds over here, they mirror the pain, but clouds fade. They dissipate. They go. It's meant to promise that this pain is temporary. So, upright, the words are heartbreak, emotional pain, sorrow, grief, and hurt. Usually when this card comes around, we are pretty badly hurt. Our heart's broken. We got betrayed. We were disappointed. We were stabbed in the back. Someone said or did something really, really painful. Our heart is broken. There's usually a lot of sadness. There's usually a lot of grief. But there are bigger heartbreaks in the tarot for us. This tends to be the loudest. I don't think that means it's the worst. I think that means it's just really intense. But I find with the 3 of Swords, it promises release and relief and emotional, a letting go of things in a lot of ways. You know, I find like the 10 of Swords, sometimes that's lifelong pain. Sometimes that's pain that changes you forever or sits with you forever. And the 3 of Swords hurts, but it's the like, oh, I see you now, and that hurts. Or like, oh, I get it now. Or, oh, I understand. There's pain in that, in disillusionment, in knowing that someone isn't who they thought you were, or they didn't love you the way that you thought that they did, or they weren't there for you. That hurts. That's a heartbreak. But there's growth and learning and knowledge that comes out of it. Whereas I find like the Ten of Swords, it's not that nothing comes out of it. Things do. But the Ten of Swords is a lot of the things that hurt and kind of just hurt. It's like, you know how sometimes we go through things in life and they can be so horrible and awful, but it's very possible to like see the lesson, or see the silver lining, or see the bright side of things. That's a lot of the Three of Swords. Like, you know, when your friend's going through a breakup and she's crying her eyes out in front of you and you're like, I'm so sorry that this happened, but on the bright side, and then you can find something. That's the Three of Swords. The Ten of Swords are those situations where there usually, is there a bright side? Yes, probably. There really is to most things. Should you say it? Probably not. Like, and that's usually how it tends to work. You know, like, so the Three of Swords is hard. I'm never going to say it's not, but there are worse things for us to feel, because I feel like, again, it is probably one of the sharpest pains, but it also tends to heal the fastest out of the others, with some of the least amount of long-term damage out of the others. You know, it gives us room. Yeah, and now we know the truth. Exactly. And now we know the truth, and now we get it. And that's the gift. It's a hard gift. It's a painful gift, but it's the gift. And, you know, give yourself a good cry. Allow yourself to experience all those feelings, all those emotions, because there's going to be a lot of them, and you're damn sure going to need to get them out. And then, you know, after kind of giving yourself all the time that you need, you're going to get yourself back up, and you're going to get back on the path that you're supposed to get on. That's kind of the biggest thing. And if you pull this card for somebody, it could be telling you that something has happened, and happened pretty recently. If this has not happened recently, then they are locked on the damage, not the recovery. They're stuck on what happened, and they're not trying to push themselves out and through yet. And you kind of need to help assist them through that. Remind them that, like I said, while the hurt is deep, it is also temporary. And I think the really important thing is that we don't absorb these swords. We can't walk around with them. We have to let them fall out. As difficult and scary and vulnerable as that can be sometimes, you know, we just gotta let them go. It's a weird card. It's a good card. It's hard, painful lessons. I'm never gonna say it's not hard or sad. I'm never going to say that you're not about to be in for one hell of a time. You probably are. But I can also say with the foresight of the universe that you're going to be okay. You know, it reminds me of like, I remember one of my cousins was going through a breakup, and they're young. They're like 14. And it's the end of the world, right? You know, they're 14 and they just got into a breakup, and they're never going to love again, and they're going to be alone forever, and the world's ending. And, you know, fair, valid, whatever. Like, and I remember walking into their bedroom, and I found them lying face down on the floor, having like a moment, like, and for a minute in that doorway, it was so funny to like see them with my perspective, but also recognize theirs, right? Because like, I'm 27, I'm very young, and I'm in this weird transition place where to a 14-year-old, I am very much an adult. To a 14-year-old, I'm pushing 30, and like, I am very much an adult. So I can be that comforting, grounding space. And I am, you know, I can look at my cousin having a moment on the floor, and I can giggle a little, because I know with my adult eyes and my perspective that they're gonna be fine in like 6 months. And in 6 years, they're probably not even gonna remember his name. So I can look at her and kind of giggle a little with that perspective. But I'm also close enough to 14 that I remember what that felt like. And I remember what it felt like to have my very tiny world on fire and crumbling around me. And all the adults wanted to tell me that it wasn't that serious, because they're looking at my tiny on fire bubble, and all they see is like a tiny little fire. And they're like, oh, that's nothing. Yeah, it's nothing if you're not in the bubble. If you're in the bubble, everything's on fire. This is terrifying. This is awful. And that's kind of like where she was. And that's what the Three of Swords feels like, is like, I can sit here from the perspective of the universe and know that you're gonna be fine. Know that you're gonna move on from this, and that in a couple of years, it's gonna be barely a distant memory. But that doesn't take away from how you feel in this moment. That doesn't take away from what's going on in your bubble. And your bubble is out. And like, it's okay to have those moments. So take comfort in the fact that it is temporary and that it is not going to last. But it is also fair to recognize that the future version of myself that is not going to feel this way is no comfort to the version of me that feels this way now. And that's a fair way to feel, you know? So it's a things can be two things situation. It's totally valid to feel that way, but also when you are in the depths of it, keep reminding yourself that this is a temporary situation. It's okay if that doesn't make you feel better. Maybe it's not supposed to make you feel better. Maybe it's just supposed to keep your feet moving. Maybe it's just supposed to help you take another step. Maybe it's just supposed to help you wait a little bit longer until it is over. It's not always supposed to help you feel better. Sometimes it just gets you through, and that's okay. When this card is in reverse, we see releasing pain, we see optimism, we see forgiveness. We also see negative views and negative self-talk. If you are letting the swords fall out, this is a beautiful way for this card to show itself. However, this card can also suggest that you're doing what we talked about, which is absorbing the swords, internalizing what happened, like owning it, making it yours. And don't do that. Like I said, ensure that you haven't observed them. Keep an eye on your self-talk. Keep an eye on your inner monologue. Do the inner child work. Your inner child thinks you can be a superhero, ballerina, pirate, princess, and doesn't want to hear otherwise. The parts of those thoughts that sound like you, that tell you that you're not good enough and that you're not going to be able to do it and that you're not smart enough or you're too lazy or you're not funny enough or whatever, none of those thoughts are coming from you. They might sound like it because those thoughts have been in your head so long that they have started to adopt the accent that is up here, but they're not you. They are other people's words and other people's judgments that have been given to you and you have taken. They are swords you have absorbed. They are swords you have internalized. And look at them. They are still stabbing you from the inside. They are still causing wounds. They are still poking and bleeding you. You gotta let them go. They are not you. Again, they sound like you because, like I said, they've adopted the accent. They've been up here for a really long time. They're not you. You, that's your inner child. Your core, it's all the way down there. Ask them how they feel. Ask them what they think you can do. It's probably a hell of a lot of good things. Yep, and then it just all kind of goes and goes and goes, and it just, all the cards bleed into the other, which is one of my favorite things about tarot. It's like one big puzzle. If you wouldn't say, yeah, this is something that's a big thing about this card and it really pushes for you. If you wouldn't say it to little you or to just a child, don't say it to grown ass you. Don't treat adult you different than little you. If you wouldn't, if you were able to sit with 6-year-old you, and if 6-year-old you was trying to do something and made a mistake, would you call them stupid? Would you call them a fuck up? Would you be like, you always do this, God, you can't get it right? Of course you wouldn't. That's a child. You are doing that to them when you say it to yourself. That little version of you is somewhere in there and hears that shit. Don't be another unsafe adult for your inner child, especially if you grew up around so many. Don't be another unsafe adult. We can always, if anything, we can ensure that we are a safe adult for our inner child. And that includes, again, when we make a mistake, showing patience with ourselves, showing forgiveness with ourselves, doing the like, ah, shit, that's okay, man, we tried. Let's give it another go. Like, you can hold yourself accountable. You can correct yourself without talking to yourself that way. Look at gentle parenting. Gentle parents are doing it all the time, and their kids are turning out great. You don't have to belittle or punish or yell at yourself to make yourself get into gear and to do things. You don't have to do all that. You can just be like, hey, buddy, we messed up. We messed up big time. That wasn't okay. We need to do better, and this is how we're going to do better, and we're going to do better. And then you can just go and do better. That is a whole self-correction right there. No self-flagellation involved. So definitely take a minute to try to show a little bit more kindness in that way. This card suggests that you've been on a hard path, and there's a good chance you might be recovering from that. You might be recovering from this card upright if you get it in reverse. And now you're healing, which is really the big thing. You can accept the pain and you can move forward. If you find you're getting there but not quite there, if you find that, you know, you're struggling to move past a heartbreak, give yourself a good old-fashioned purge. You could probably use it. Don't get stuck in your moments of grief, and think before you speak, especially when you are upset. You don't want to be responsible for another sword in somebody. The Pentacles next? Damn, it is the Pentacles. The Pentacles are going to be short because there's really not a lot on the Three of Pentacles. It's a pretty easy peasy to the point card. Seven of Swords has gone too far. Eight of Swords is probably it. Yep. God, I love this. I love the suit of swords. It's such an incredible suit. It's very triggering, but it has a lot of really amazing lessons in it. Now, the Three of Coins. This is a yes. This is a yes in a yes or no situation. And we see three of these men, you know, they're working together. We have a stonemason right here, and then these two architects. And, you know, they're holding the plans to this beautiful cathedral that they're building. And all of this is to show their skill. And also we can see, you know, the mason, he's not as old as they are. And this is meant to suggest that, like, he's not as skilled. That's not really what it's meant to suggest. It's meant to suggest that, like, they do different things and they're on different playing fields, right? So, like, the architects could never carve this beautiful masonry. They can just design it. And he can carve it, can't design it. And despite that disparity, they're all on the same height. They're all, I mean, he's a little higher because this art's a little weird, but they're all kind of like in the same level. This is all meant to show that they all value each other's opinions. They all value each other's skill sets. They're all essential contributors, and they're all on the same page. So there's a lot of synergy going on here. When I realized that the swords are the mind, getting really into the swords and starting to break them down through the perspective of, oh, this is like a really big spiral into the brain. I was like, okay, because, like, that's the thing, right? You know, the swords are our words and they're what we speak, but that comes from our mind. That's where that comes from. Like, you know, our feelings come from our heart, so that tracks, that makes sense. You know, our passions come from our gut, and, like, that tracks, that makes sense. But then, you know, then there's our words. It's like, where do our words come from? Because technically they can come from everywhere. So where do they come from? The thing that filters everywhere else up here. The thing that takes all the information from everywhere else and puts it into things and then puts it out. The same way our brain takes all the information our eyes see, downloads it, and then plays it back for us. It's, you know, God, I could get into the brain for hours. The brain and occultism and just psychology and physiology and the human body and sacred geometry, I could go into for hours. It's so trippy and weird. Humans are cool, man. Humans are cool. The universe is cool. Humans are cool. We are such an incredible, blessed anomaly in the universe, and we should be grateful for the very incredibly weird biological marvel that our bodies are, because it's incredible what our bodies do. We're very cool. We're very weird. So the Three of Pentacles, when we're looking at it, Upright. The big key words are teamwork, collaboration, learning, and implementation. You know, it's like I said, it's the teamwork card. This is the group project card. Everyone in this situation has a part to play. You are required to collaborate if you want to make something. This is larger than everybody involved. The value of bringing different ideas and skill levels that each person has and letting them all offer and do something or learn something, that's huge. And that's going to get so much done. This is honestly what's really good about this, is that everyone is here doing what they're good at and learning from each other, because everyone who's here is really fucking good at what they do. And we can kind of just bounce off one another and learn and grow through that whole process. This is implementation. That's kind of how this whole thing works. You know, it really starts to put into work that idea that we were given in the Ace of Coins. You know, we had that moment of inspiration. We figured out how to balance it, how to make it work. And now here in the Three of Coins, we're out there doing it. We're implementing it. We're making it work. We're collecting people based on their skills and what they're good at. And we're mixing it all together and we're getting shit done. Make plans, gather resources, get to work. Also, when this card is upright, keep in mind that you are good at what you do. This is really important. You are very gifted at what you do. Keep going. This requires the ability to prep. This requires organization. This requires management of time and of people and of resources and skills. And you're going to have to like channel all of that energy, but it is going to pay off. It is going to work. Like I said, you are going to be seen for what you are doing. Also, when I pull this card for like new jobs, stuff like that, it's really good work environments. It's healthy, it's happy. Everyone kind of, at the bare minimum, everybody respects one another. At the best version of this, everyone gets along, everybody's friends, we're all like BFFs, snuggle cuddling. It's the Three of Coins is such a good situation financially, emotionally, mentally for us to be working in. It's also a place where we are valued and seen and appreciated, and the work that we do is given acknowledgement, which is huge. Now, unfortunately, when this card is in reverse, understandably so, it is kind of the group project from hell. We see disharmony, misalignment, working alone. A lot of the times when this card's in reverse, you find yourself doing all of the work, whether that's all the emotional heavy lifting. Like if I pull this card in reverse for a relationship, not good, because it means whoever I pulled it for is doing all the work. They are, you know, the emotional regulator. They are the person putting in all the effort. They're the person keeping it afloat. They might be the one doing all the organizational work. They might be the one planning all the dates or making sure everything's getting done. If it's, you know, if this is your work environment, you probably are getting all of the responsibility and all of the pressure put on you, even if it's not your job, even if you're maybe underqualified or too young. There's probably a lot getting put on your plate. You're probably stuck doing this by yourself, and it is fucking up your ability to get done maybe what you're supposed to be getting done. Whether that's your tasks at work or your stuff at home. You might be struggling to find harmony with your team members, which means getting the project done is hard. You might find you and your coworkers just don't like each other. I remember I started a job and within 30 seconds, I worked as a daycare teacher and it was just me and two other teachers. And within the first hour of working there, one of the teachers decided she just didn't like me. And that made working with them in the very small enclosed environment with a bunch of small children for a year really difficult, because we had to corral a bunch of babies and we couldn't work as a proper unit because she didn't like me and she was on and off with the other teacher, and it made things really difficult. And I pulled the Three of Coins all the time in reverse, and I was like, I know. It was so out of sync. The amount of howlite I snuck into that classroom in the hopes that it would ease the tensions. I don't know, man. Some people are just in their own world. But with the 3 of coins, I pulled it left, right, and center because we couldn't get stuff done. We like half the stuff I wanted to get done wasn't getting done because we couldn't just cooperate as a team. I'm sure she wasn't getting her stuff done because she just wouldn't talk to me about stuff. And we're going in fucking circles. Like, it was so annoying. And you know, it led to us having to deal with so much more extra bullshit than we ever needed to. So check in with yourself. You and your coworkers, you and your boss, you and the people around you, y'all might not be on the same page. And it's really important that you need to realign with the original goals of your project. Like, if we'd all just sat down and been like, hey, at the end of the day, it's about the kids. It's not about whether or not we get along. It's about showing up to work, taking care of about 23 3-year-olds and trying to keep our sanity while also keeping all of the tiny humans alive. Like, that was the main goal of our job and what we were here to do. And if we had taken a minute to like pull all the bullshit down and just reconnect to the main task of our job, we probably would have been able to do it a lot easier and probably would have been without a lot of stuff. And I probably wouldn't have had to spend $30 on how late. Moving on. So the 3 of Wands. This is the last one for the day. So for a yes or no, the 3 of Wands is a yes. Very big yes. Now, obviously, with the symbolism, he's got his 3 wands. And as you can see, they're all firmly planted on the ground. And this is meant to show that he is fully committed to his plans. He is all raring to go. There is no shyness about what he's about to do. You know, he has left the comfort of his castle, because we remember him from the 2 of Wands. You know, he has left the comfort of his castle that we saw in the 2 of Wands, and he is out here with his shit ready to go. Now, we also see these ships. There's 3. There's one right here, and then there's these 2 right here. We also see these ships kind of passing. This is meant to show movement and progression and travel and growth. And then finally, he is looking at all of this from a high vantage point. Obviously, you know, he's looking out. This must be a cliff of some kind. This is meant to show that he can see all that lies ahead of him. You know, he's able to see the hills, the paths, the challenges, the opportunities, everything that's kind of there for him. So it's this one, thankfully, the detail's not too intense. It's pretty nice and easy to the point. But that's kind of what we see in all of his symbolism. So in his keywords, again, if you're a flashcard person, you're going to see words like progress, expansion, foresight, oversee opportunities. So sometimes like actual physical travel, planning for the future, and usually doing so from a place of comfort. Usually when we get this card, our plans are well underway. We are like going. You might be considering even more opportunities to expand and maximize your potential. You are moving, you are getting stuff done, and you, like I said, might even be looking to grow and expand. You know, progress is going to be steady as expected. You should be allowed to stick your feet up and just kind of let things come the way that they're going to come. And that's all thanks to proper preparation and drive. You did everything right in the early half of this, and you are still doing everything right as you continue to push this thing forward. One thing that's also big is you are being told, take advantage of all this potential. You're on a roll. Shit is moving. Now is the time to keep acting. Quite literally ride your wave. Throw more stuff onto it while you can. Keep pushing, and especially keep going out of your comfort zone. You did it the first time. You had to get from the 2 of Wands to the 3 of Wands. Do it again. Push again. And then we get to the 4 of Wands. And the 4 of Wands is like achievement and advancement and like the reward. So like keep shit moving. Keep going. The 3 of Wands is going to force you out of your comfort zone as it throws opportunity, travel, adventure, all of these wonderful things kind of compounding and making their way over to you. Take them. Take these opportunities, but be smart, right? We're not just jumping off the cliff. We are using our vantage point. Predict the challenges, predict the opportunities, be prepared for them as they kind of show their way to you. Otherwise, what's the point of having the vantage point? Oof. You know, sometimes I get those neck cracks and I'm really worried some of you hear them and I'm like, God, that's gotta be bad. Oh my God, these hiccups. so annoying. Just comment at random. That should get rid of the hiccups. The 10-second thing usually works. Moving on. When the Three of Wands is in reverse, we see playing small. We see a lack of foresight or unexpected delays. You know, growth and expansion are showing themselves to you, just like when the card's upright, but you're playing it safe. You're not taking them. This is closing you off, and this is limiting you and releasing you from opportunities that could have kind of come your way. You may not have accomplished your goals in recent attempts. Who cares? Do it again. Try it again. Do it now. Also, when this card comes in reverse, we might be getting delays to our situation, and this could be really frustrating us. We might be feeling like we wasted our time and just kind of over it. It's important to keep in mind that setbacks are a part of things, as annoying as they are. They are very, very, very much a part of things. Your plans may, unfortunately, also be coming to a halt when this card is in reverse. You might need help from others. It's just a part of it. You might need to ask. It's also really important to, when you are planning all of these things, add buffer time. What if you mess up? What if you get tired? What if you get sick? What if something happens? Add buffer time. Don't just be exact down to the second. Make sure that you put in enough room for yourself to do other things. And don't overcommit yourself. Don't agree. Again, say yes to these opportunities. That doesn't mean say yes to all of them. Say yes to the right ones. What are the right ones? Pull more cards to know, or trust your intuition. That's usually the better option. But that's going to be today. I will see y'all next Saturday to talk about the fours and to start breaking all them down. The fours are fun. I have a weird relationship with the fours. I like the fives as much as the fives are chaotic and stressful and difficult and sometimes sad. I like the fives. If you can't tell, I like the cards with the big lessons because I think they're sometimes the most useful. But that's going to be it for today. So thank you. I will see you on next Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and then enjoy your week when it comes to you. And